Part 3 of What If Deku Was an Orc? The Archaeologist Incident. As we see Deku, and it's basically nightfall, as him and several other orcs are crawling through the area around the archaeologist site. I want to count how many of us have gathered here. So about 25 of us in total, including yourself. The orc rabble. Well, our lesser orcs with the wooden shields and rusted weapons are currently down there waiting for the orders. How many actual soldiers with armor and all that? We have 5 armored orcs down there, and 6 archers waiting at the positions. Remember, that orc with the poison arrow fires first. I will inform him. When shall we strike? Wait until both heroes are out of the cave. I will rush in and try to find out whatever they're looking for. Whatever it is, it's not good. Very well. Now wait for my signal. As Deku moves closer to where he's close to the entrance of the cave, as he then gets the signal, as the poison orc archer shoots, hitting Endeavor in the shoulder, as he then veins start appearing over him as he falls down. As Hawks goes over, Endeavor, what happened? As he notices the arrow in his shoulder, as the orc gravel start rushing out and start, attacking the other heroes in the area, and the archaeologists start running off. Because villain attack, they start running away. As Hawk's mind, there goes the plan of getting rid of the archaeologists. But luckily they didn't find the item we were looking for. It's in that sealed room. So there's no need to kill him now. As he grabs his well-faired sword, starts rushing at the orc rabble, and starts fighting with them, Deku takes the opportunity to run in the cave, followed by 2 armored orcs. As the other archers are aiming their bows towards Hawks. And the poison archer orc starts moving around, keeping his position well hidden. As they start firing at Hawks, as he knows, he sends his feathers, taking a couple of them out. Luckily, 2 of them use their shields to protect. They stop firing and check on their, orc comrades, and pulls them into the tree line. As the fighting continues outside, we see Deku, who's at the entrance of an old, rusted, dark black door. As he puts his orc hand on it, moving it down. How do we get this open? As then one of the armored orcs taps on Deku's shoulders. What is it? As he's referencing to like a log. You would want me to summon the orc battering ram? As it nods his head. Very well. As he summons a small battering ram to where the 2 armored orcs start bursting at the door with the battering ram. As clanging can be heard from outside, as Hawks hears it. No, they're trying to get into the room. As he quickly tries to fly into the cave, the poison-arced archer gets out of his spot and shoots straight down toward the cave entrance, hitting Hawks in the leg as he flies straight towards it, as he falls to the ground because of the nullification effect of the poison. As he comes out and only sees, the armored orcs with 2 orc gravel still standing. As the, poison orc archer gives a command. Take the orc fodder back. No casualties, correct? As an orc speaks. No, sir, just several wounded. Good, take them back. As the orc father are taken away. As, pretty much all the heroes in the area have been immobilized. As, Hawks speaks up. What are y'all trying to gain here? Well, we knew of your little scheme to murder the archaeologists. As Hawks surprised. How? We never told anyone about that. Well, that proves our point. It wasn't mine, it was my boss's thought. It was merely a guess, and it seems he was right. We also didn't want you to get the hands on that artifact. As he surprised, artifact? Our master may not know what lies within behind that door, but a few of us do. And it will help the master unlock his full potential, and soon he'll realize this world has no need for the people with quarks. As he stands up, well, I guess we should eliminate any witnesses. As he gestures at the other orcs, as they pull out their blades. As then they hear a big clang as a door was just burst down. As they're distracted by the noise, Endeavor, who can barely even move his hand, is trying to get free. As then the, orc with the poise and arrows looks around. Did you hear that? As the other orcs are wondering, what is it, sir? Make sure all the prisoners are in the right place, and you got a head count, right? Yes, as you requested. As Hawks and Endeavor and a few lower heroes are all tied up. Well, hopefully they don't know about our backup that was coming today to help escort the item. Looks like they had no clue about it. We just gotta wait for them to arrive. As we go to Deku, who's in the cave with the two armored orcs. As he walks in, and it's a flooded area as the floor is all covered in water. As they start moving. As they start walking through this room, leading to a, old destroyed staircase. Sir, I think there's something up there. Good eye. Now let's move up. As Deku and the orcs go up there, and sees a dark orb, which is covered by a blanket, or a dark cloth. As, he approaches it, and ready to pull the cloth off, as one of the orcs taps on him. Do you hear that? Do I hear what? As the orc starts looking around the room, I hear footsteps above us. We're at the top of the... Go inform the other orcs outside, we have company. As they both nod and start running towards the entrance. As Deku just simply wraps the orb, or whatever the item is, into the cloth that's wrapped around it, and just starts carrying it. As the orc gets outside, we've got company! As the other orcs all get into their fighting positions. As, Aizawa and a few heroes arrived. Seeing these armored orcs and Endeavor, Hawks, and a few other heroes tied up. Surrender, villains! As, Deku, who's in his armor, gets out. Oh, great. Heroes! Sir, you need to get out of here. As he starts running off with the item as two armored orcs follow him. Aizawa, started fighting some of these orcs, who really don't have much combat experience, so he's currently, hitting them aside. As then, the orc with the poison arrow starts to pull back his bows. Yes, just keep him busy. One in the back should do. As he shoots it, Hawk says, "Look out!" As Aizawa turns around and barely just, evades the arrow, only scratching his arm just a little bit. That's not enough dose to paralyze him. As his arm then just stops functioning. What was that? That orc has some sort of paralyzing arrows. Watch out. As he looks over at anger at Hawks, as he grabs a blade and starts tossing it towards him. Eraser uses his, capture weapon to grab the knife. As then, all of the orcs just start run off into the forest. As Aizawa, leans to the ground. And is trying to move his arm, but cannot. As he goes over and unties the other heroes. Who were those guys? I don't know. but they grabbed whatever was in the room area we were trying to get. The archaeologists got away safely, though. They weren't targeting them. Well, that's good. There were more of them, but they sent them back because they were injured. Well, some of them didn't have that much combat experience. Don't underestimate them. The ones in armor were more elite. There were ones with, like, small wooden helmets and spears and wooden shields. We easily dispatched them. When the armored one showed up, it was more tough. As Deku was regrouped with everyone, which is being a handful of injured armored orcs, the poison archer orc, as he sits down with the, object in the cloth. Sir, as the archer orc with the poison arrow speaks up, may I have a name? Oh, I never really gave some of y'all names, did I? No, you did not, sir. How about... Arca. Arca, how's that sound? Arca. That works, sir. You probably want to use that item and check on it. We have no idea where it is. You're very right. For all I know, this could be some sort of ancient relic. But, for some reason, it told me that it shouldn't fall into anyone's hands. Yes. Follow your instincts. That's how us orcs have survived. As he simply just nods in agreement. You're very right. We wouldn't be around if it wasn't for our instincts. As they head back to their little hideout, as they see orcs making weapons and all that. When did I order the use of making weapons? We were just making some reserve. Our quality of armor and all that in case the heroes attack us. Protective measure, of course. We wish to arm some more orcs with better materials. Alright, you make a fair point. As he approaches his room and all that, as Arca, stops right next to him and says something. What is it? Why'd you stop? Sir, I think it'd be wise if we summon more of an army. Why? 1. We cannot trust these heroes. We've practically just claimed ourselves as villains as it is. That may be true. Alright, I agree with you that we need to arm the defenses. And this cave system and area won't work that well. Well, I did some looking around the past few days before the attack. And I discovered old ruined castle. Nearby, of course. If we could move our forces there, we would have a better encampment. Also supplied resources with more of a defensive perimeter. Is that okay with you? I suppose so. But what about all our food resources in the area? I did find a mere lake within a cave system. That should provide us with enough fish and meat. For a while. Alright, you can order the orcs. Yes. Also, I do ask you to summon more orcs. I'll do that tomorrow. I don't want to have to mess with anything else right now. Very well, sir. As after all, it's nearly daytime. As Deku goes to his room, as he sets, the cloth down, as he sets it down, the cloth then unravels itself, revealing the dark orb. As Deku looks at it, what is this? As he's looking at the orb, he then gets a sensation to touch it. As he touches it, images start appearing in his head. Of some light figure in armor. As he shakes his head, what am I seeing? As he falls to the ground. As he finally gets up once again. What was that? Whatever it was, it caused me immense headache. He decides to cover the orc back up, the orb back up with the cloth. As then he sits down. Things are a bit rough now, aren't they? As a knock appears at the door. Yes, as it's the orc that raised him. Well, it looks like your mission was a success. Luckily we had no casualties. We did have a couple wounded, thanks to that number 4 hero hawks. Some of our archers were injured. Luckily they managed to pull them back to our hideout in time for, well, our very few intelligent orcs with medical capabilities. I do have to thank you for teaching them that. I simply just used some old books I found to teach them. Yes, listen. They will be coming after us now. Of course, I'm aware of that. I do suggest you prepare. It's not like they're going to attack within a day. You never know. After all, once we're united like this, everything goes down the drain. You're right. It's always gone down for y'all in the drain. From the stories you've told me, when the orcs unite, they're always taken out. Yes, the only time we stuck in long periods was with the Dark Lord. I suppose you're right. Do you know what that item is? The old orc looks at the cloth. I don't remember its name, but it was an orb kept by the Dark Lord made it. We still have no idea what the use for it was. Oh. Maybe it was a communication device? Something? I don't know. Whatever it is, it gave me flashes. As the old orc thinks in his head, flashes. Could it be that the Dark Lord is still alive? No. His soul died with the ring. Maybe his powers are still left. That could be it. Well, you must rest. After all, you've had a tough night. Very well. Leave me alone, please. As the old orc leaves the room. As he goes to sleep. As we go back to the, heroes, as they're having a hero meeting. So did you check out that poison? As they're talking with the detective. Yes, it's a green type of poison, paralyzing toxin. Very rare, actually. The only herbs that are made for it are not even really in this country. As this surprises, Endeavor, Hawks, and Izal. What do you mean? Well, they're only grown in a certain part of the world. That's the thing. It's a very rare poison. Or, it's a paralyzing type poison. It's only meant to paralyze the enemy. But can be deadly if it's shot close to the heart. I see. I guess we got lucky. Yes. There is currently no antidote, but we do know the side effects do wear off after a few hours, as you probably noticed. Yeah, it took us almost the entirety of the nightfall to finally end for us to get movement back in our limbs. Yeah. Who were those guys anyway? Just some villains after whatever was in that cave. Well, do you have any clue? Well, we were told it was some old relic. We were told to pick it up. It being an old relic, but why would it need to be guarded? If it's old relics, villains don't usually take that into account. Well, we believe it was made before the Quark era. So we believe it was a valuable item that was worth probably millions or billions. So we were told to get the item and escort it back to Heroes Commission hands, as it's an old relic. Alright. I still don't see why you two were there, but... Well, it was an important mission given to us. Very well. Anyway, you said how many of them were there? My estimate, there was at least 20. Maybe a few others hiding. So you're saying they didn't attack you full out with their full force? No, they had at least a few others hiding in the woods. From the sounds of it, that Arc Orcher was the leader for the most part, saying he worked for someone. He said he was in the cave and grabbed the item. Well, there was a heavily armored heavily armored person that did exit the cave and just left immediately. That might have been the person he was talking about. Whatever they're planning is not good. They need to be stopped. As Endeavor agrees, we should just burn them to a crisp. After all, they're nothing but mutation freaks. Endeavor, we do not kill. That is not what heroes do. Whatever. As they're still contemplating about what to do and all that, as then Nezu, who happens to be in the area, or the room he had walked in. Well, it seems like we're dealing with someone that knows more about these relics than we do. Now that you mention it, that archer did know at least something about the item, saying that it had some sort of power, I think? I don't know what he meant at the time. Well, it sounds like this is a valuable relic indeed. Maybe it was made in the Quark era of the beginning and the start of it. If so, it may have the capabilities of increasing someone's Quark. We have no idea. Still, if they know the true purpose of this item, we should keep an eye out for them. I agree. We don't know where they are. They're obviously in no city. We haven't had anyone with descriptions with them in the cities. They're most likely hiding within some sort of unconcealed area, low population. Maybe the old factory zones. Check there. That's not a bad idea. But wouldn't we have gotten reports of someone? Well, there were people with similar appearances when I came across them in the street. But none of them looked remotely like the two I saw. What do you mean? Well, the two I saw had similar appearances from what you've described. But they didn't look anything like the ones that attacked you. Referring to the Deku and the other orc. Oh, I see. But they may have connections. So let's try to find those and interrogate them. Very well. I'll see if I can find them in the same city afterward. Well, I did get good news. You know Momo Ryozu, right? Yes. Well, her younger brother had gotten kidnapped, but some strangers, saved her life. If I remember, we found an arrow. Wait, can you show me the arrow? As Hawks and all that go to the, what is the place called in an agency where they keep their items? Confiscated items, yeah. They go there and look at the arrow, as it's pretty much almost identically similar to the arrow shot. So are you guessing that they freed him? No, they must have had other motives. Maybe there were a third party that wanted to kidnap him and he got away due to, the circumstances of them fighting. As we did hear that there was a clash between two groups, and another one, jumped in from the reports of the villains. So you're saying this third group also got involved, and that led for the younger brother of Momo to escape. That is most likely the solution. They are probably after him so they could ransom him for money. Truth be told, not what they were trying to do, just what they're presuming. Well, I guess we should look in the surrounding areas. They couldn't have gotten far. For what they look like, they used not even modern weapons. They used ancient swords, bows. They weren't even that well trained. Some of them could do combat, and the others didn't do quite well. That archer orc had some form of combat, I can assure you that. And the armored ones, too. Just not the best. But at the beginning stage of the attack was really worth the cannon fodder. Low level. Easy to dispatch villains. The real ones were hiding, waiting to use that poison. I see. So they have a tactician amongst them, most likely. After all, no small villain group would think to use poison. They must have had to get it from, well, a very far location, so they have to have been playing this for at least a while. Truth be told, Deku could just summon the stuff. Summon the arrows. Because he has the power to summon all types of orcs and their weapons. So, just letting you all know, that's part of his abilities. Well, we must do research of where they bought it. Maybe there is a trail. So we find the dealer, and we find where they got it. Correct. So let's try looking in certain areas and seeing who has been selling this type of poison. As they nod, as the meeting ends, as we go to, well, Deku, who's currently in his room, who is currently seeing visions in his sleep, as he's moving around. What's these items? As a person pretty much on fire as he's seen with like an eye. What is this? As then he just rolls out of bed, as someone had come into the room and checked on him. Sir! Sir! As he opens his eyes, and sees a female orc, as he then loses consciousness. And that is the end of part 3 of What If Deku Was an Orc. Hopefully you all enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe.